Ugh. All right. Hey guys, it's Kristen. It's an inside joke, but no, really, it's Kristen. So, this is my 4th time filming this video. I almost cried after I thought that I filmed the last one, and yeah, the battery just decided to go out, and there's something that does not want me to do this video and does not want it out, and I was so angry and did not want to film again. But I calmed myself down and I'm going to try it one more time, and yeah, and let's just see if this works. It's just been my luck, I guess, for the last few videos. So today is, what's today? Thursday. It's what, June 9th? Yeah, June 9th. And it's the afternoon now. I actually started filming this morning and filmed for about 4 hours and it didn't work, and here we are again. So hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully it's better than mine. No, I'm just kidding. And of course, like I've been saying in the last few videos, is I have already had a video planned. So I'm gonna stop saying that now. I had messages sent to me on things that I guess I have not worked on, and like wounds and trauma and things like that, patterns that have been continuing in my life, and yeah. So that came to me on Monday and Tuesday, and I just knew that I had to go ahead and write these down and talk about them, hopefully to help some people heal and maybe look into themselves as well. I'm going to be talking about stuff from my childhood and stuff that's still going on today. It's still kind of weird for me to talk because it's weird that it's a camera and I'm not looking at somebody's eyesight, so I'm trying to pretend that's an eyeball. I don't know. To just keep kind of staring and making eye contact, I guess. So this is my 4th video now. This should be my 4th video. When I posted the first video, a lot of things just came up, like everything basically that I have not dealt with or blocked, and or healed from or whatever. And that's kind of happened since my mom passed away this year. It's been just kind of more what people may say is a spiritual awakening. I think I had my spiritual awakening before this, but it's just more of an insight. I think I would just call it more insight on things that I've been doing behavior wise, and trying to look more deeper into why I do the things that I do and what kind of caused those kind of things, if that makes any sense to you at all. If not, just enjoy the ride. I am actually better with doing videos just talking intuitively as whatever comes to my mind than writing down and just going list by list of what I should talk about, because there is so much insight and ideas and things going on in my head. It just doesn't work right for me if I go through lists. It just doesn't. So I'm just going to go through what I feel. I'm going to talk intuitively, what I feel just at the moment. That's what I'm gonna do. And I really just also want to, before I actually start this whole conversation about my childhood and everything, is I will be talking about, of course, my mom and dad. I do want to say that it's going to be more about my mom, but I'm going to say that I don't have any bad feelings, resentment, anger, anything against my parents. My parents raised me, my three brothers, the way that they felt was best for them and for their family. And so I'm also speaking from my perspective. I'm not speaking for my brothers or my dad or anything. So just keep that in mind. And yeah. So I see a lot on TikTok that there are people that are bringing awareness and talking about, you know, traumatic events that have happened in their life, and telling, you know, telling their story, and kind of just only telling the story, or it's just the other side where you know, people are just talking about, I guess, healing techniques or why you feel a certain way, almost more of staying in a little bit more of a victimhood stance than, you know, kind of recognizing that we're all victims in this world, basically. Because and I'm not justifying the horrible actions or things that some people do to others, definitely not at all. I am just saying, in a sense of using common sense, you know, parents, friends, whoever's close to you, loved ones, that, you know, they have wounds and trauma that makes them act out and be a certain way in certain aspects of their life. And the whole point of this video is just to talk about mine, what I have found out recently. There's some things that I consciously knew about, but not further deep into this, and I still need to keep going in deeper. But also just to be the one to actually come out with my own issues and baggage, because I don't know if people are doing this. I haven't seen anyone do this, that instead they're talking about just the story and not also what they do to inflict or hurt other people. Not saying that I did it intentionally. These are things that have just played in my life that have caused patterns that I have just not realized, or I knew was kind of going on but still didn't know how to fix it, or, you know, how to deal with it, or what truly was the underlying issue. I'm just here to do this video so that you can hopefully get out of your box for just a second and look through my lens, just to see what I see, hopefully. If not, try it again. And then if not, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, so let's just dive right in. Let's just dive right in. This is gonna be some like vulnerable stuff. This is definitely stuff that I would not want to talk about, and probably would never talk about until, like I said, recently. And I feel like I am meant to help heal people that can relate to these kind of things. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's that's the gist of it, basically. So if I am sitting here contemplating, I am just making sure that I am not trying to say anything, I guess, in a bad light, or I'm just trying to be more careful with this in my own words, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, my mom was a very big influence in my life, obviously. My mom was a great mom. Really, she inspired me because she had 4 kids, me and my 3 brothers, and took over the house and did all the meals, did all the laundry, did all homemaker, great homemaker. My dad was the breadwinner. My dad was always working, but he would help my mom whenever he was home. And my mom is the reason why, when I was younger, I made the decision I did want to be a mom one day and have children. Unfortunately, though, my mom had caused some wounding and pain in my life. And even up until my teenage years, it had got so bad that there was so much resentment and anger built up. I did not have a good relationship with my mom. I know I said a lot of mean things to my mom. I did a lot of things that I recognized in my teenage years later on that was not right. And I did decide when I was 19 that it did not matter if I had talked about those things to my mom yet, that I wanted a relationship with my mom. I wanted that mother and daughter relationship, and that I was going to fight for it, and I did. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I did that. And my mom actually became my best friend. So, yeah, it's sad, but at the same time, she's always around. So she's always checking up on me. You know, my mom is funny is, I think it was like 2 or 3 days after she passed away. If nobody knows this, I have abilities to where I can hear things. So what you would call clairvoyant, which you would call maybe psychic, dreams that actually happen in real life. And so I started hearing footsteps. So when I was laying in bed, I started hearing like loud footsteps. And it was just footsteps in the beginning. And I remember, just being kind of scared the hell out of me because, I don't want to hear people talking to me, like spirits talking to me. I've closed that out because it scares the fuck out of me. Sometimes it happens still, and yeah, it's not fun. I think I don't know. And I've told, I do not want to see anybody either, because that would scare the hell out of me as well. I told my mom in my head, I was like, please don't make footsteps. Like, I don't want to hear the sound. Like, it freaks me out. And she kind of stopped a little bit. And my mom, knowing my mom, because she's stubborn, she does what she wants. She would still do it when she felt like she wanted to do it. And then she started knocking on my nightstand at night. So random times of the night, usually it would be like 2 in the morning or 4 in the morning, but she'd knock on my nightstand. And then I immediately knew, oh, my mom's there. Just trying to, saying hi, checking up on me, whatever. And sometimes she'll like knock multiple times, or she'll knock really loud. And I don't know what that really means, if it means anything different, but it's funny that, my mom comes and visits me all the time, and she's visited me in my dreams multiple times already. I've had conversations with her already. Whether or not people want to believe that or not, I don't really care. It's just that has helped me move on and heal a lot better since I've been able to contact already and know that she's around. And I think she does that because she knows that. That's what I think, but maybe not. Maybe she's just being a mom still on the other side and just checking up, because you're still always a mom. It never goes away after you have a child. So yeah, my mom and I had a really good relationship in my younger days, and this stemmed, a lot of these issues also stem from like the religion. We were in a strict Baptist church, which would be, women had to wear dresses or only skirts, had to always cover themselves up. You couldn't celebrate Halloween, you couldn't dance, you couldn't do, listen to certain music, you're going to hell. You get what I mean. They also had encouraged parents to spank, which, whatever, if that's your preference. But they actually told the parents where to buy a certain rod to spank the child, which is crazy to me. But yeah, anyways, during that time, my mom would shut down my expression, and I was unable to express a lot of things, or unable to really be like a child, like a normal child basically, or feel like a normal child, because if I did do an emotional outburst or have a bad day, I would be scared that I would get spanked, or that's, yeah, basically, yeah, I'd be scared to fear of being my actual self. And it also kind of made resentment a little bit there with the authority of my mom and dad spanking and causing kind of more of their, trying to control certain situations. And, like I said, they were just doing what they felt was best. And like I said, I'm not having hard feelings. I'm just talking about, what caused a lot of pain and wounds in my life. And my expression was, shut down a lot with, rejection from my mom. Also with the feeling of being like unloved and uncaring, kind of lack of empathy as well. And, I don't want to say like competing against my brothers, but my mom would praise one of us, or whoever at that time was, like if we won an award, or if we were doing a competition, or there was a recital, shit like that, that was kind of the only time my mom would really praise, like publicly. So it was kind of felt like if, in that sense, it was, if made me feel unloved and, rejected too at the same time. There was also issues with money in my family, which is considered like with loss, not just grief, but loss in jobs, loss with health, loss with, yeah, anything like that. So I started dealing with loss early in my life. So I was 5 years old, and my mom she was pregnant with her 5th child, and I had to watch my mom on a phone call get the news that the baby's heartbeat was no longer, and I'm pretty sure she was 16 weeks. And that was a hard thing to watch my mom go through. As well as when I was 6, my dad's father, which is my grandfather, got diagnosed with lung cancer, and 6 months later ended up passing away. And at this time, I did understand what it was when you died, but not fully at that time yet. So like half and half. There was loss of friends because I had to move to Arizona and meet new people and kind of like start over again. And then my dad lost his job because he got injured from breaking his heel in 28 places, which, yeah, it sounds just as awful as how it sounds. And that's whenever my families and I started seeing money issues and loss of resources and the changing and dynamic of my family, as well as there was changes within my parents where the things that we were brought up with that we would go to hell for, they started doing, like drinking, and my mom got a tattoo and things like that. So it was really hard to deal with as a kid, to understand, and that made it very confusing. So then we had to move back to Oklahoma. So then there was loss of friends there, and now back into another environment, same, but new friends again. And then that was when I started having loss of health problems. So I was having health issues, and there was a lot of moments in my teenage years I was not able to express myself, because if I did, it was immediately shut down, or my mom would kind of compare herself with me and my issues, and it really made me feel not loved at all, not being seen, not being heard. I did not feel, I'm just like rejected, and like everything. And there was issues even within that, and women in my life, or even in high school, I was having issues. Well, actually, my whole life I've had issues trying to make friends with girls. And I would cry to my mom and say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I can't ever, have girlfriends, and I don't know what I do wrong. And unfortunately, that was one thing me and my mom had in common, when my mom had trouble as well with women in her life too. And I think my mom was trying to help me in that aspect, but I knew she also couldn't, because she was dealing with that, or still dealing with that. And that has continued still in my life. And I think when I was 18 and graduated, then my grandpa from my dad's side, so his stepdad, but my grandpa, got diagnosed with dementia. So that was a loss of my grandpa mentally at this point. And then I want to say in 2014, my grandma, which is my dad's mom, passed away from ovarian cancer. And then in 2016 was a child within the family that had passed away. He was almost 2. And that one was a hard one. That was when I was going, well, no, that wasn't that was right whenever my infertility journey was starting. But at my infertility journey, it was suffering from mourning the loss of a child that you don't know if you're going to have or not. And if you've gone through infertility, you understand this. Anybody who hasn't maybe may not understand that, but that's how it feels when you're going through that. I also had the loss of almost my life. I almost, died from septic shock in 2019, and I'm still here. I had the choice. I had the choice if I wanted to leave or not, and I decided to stay. I'm glad I decided to stay. It's still a lot of, you know, things going on, but then unfortunately the loss of my mom in February from acute myeloid leukemia, and then 10 days later her dad from COVID in the hospital. So I have had a lot of loss in my life, and also loss of friends and people that had been in my life that I cared about a lot that are no longer in my life anymore. So I want to acknowledge those people as well. Yeah, so really with loss and all of that, the one thing that I fear the most is being alone. But at the same time, I love my freedom and I love my alone time, because I have to have my alone time. I have to have alone time. I have to be by myself, because that is the only way for me to get other people's energies away from me and off of me. It's for me to come back to myself, to get creative, to get in my mind and get things going. And so I have to be by myself. Like, I have to have time to myself. But at the same time, I'm talking more of alone, as in what I want the most is to feel loved and cared for by friendships and people, whether or not, like it's friendships or acquaintances or whoever, and just feel like I'm accepted, basically. And because of this, I overcompensate too much for other people, and I give too much to other people. And then I had issues because of that, expecting others to do the same for me. And when that didn't happen, it caused a lot of grief and a lot of pain. And I would back away from friendships because I was thinking that they didn't care, or I didn't want to feel more rejected as it was. I didn't understand why I was giving so much to others, but yet they could not, reciprocate that same energy back to me, or love or care. And I had to realize that those, like, validation of others is not going to help me, that only I can do that for myself. And I realized the same with friendships and with women, because my mom was so at times uncaring, and the feeling of rejection and the shutting down of expression and unable to express, that's what would attract in my life. So there would be women that came into my life, whether it was friends, family, whatever, that would react the same way. And unfortunately, I would project to women sometimes that look very, uncaring, not empathetic, maybe controlling, and not very nice. You see where I'm going with this? So that was a hard one to take recently. And I have to learn to also not expect people to be a certain way of how I envision that person to be, or have illusions of how someone should be, whether it was friendships, relationships, whoever. Because people are going to be themselves, and when you have false illusions and false expectations, and they don't do what you expected or illusioned in your head, that causes a lot of pain, resentment, grief. It causes, I say, it causes my own doing of that caused me to feel like I was being rejected, even though it was me doing that. And I would push away from friendships as well because of that, or even people in personal relationships or family, because I then got scared of thinking that I was going to get rejected from these people as well. And the same thing goes for if I was actually being my full self. So I would mask a lot, and I'm a mastermind at masking. Straight mastermind of masking. So I could go to any group of friends or whoever, and I take on the traits of those people, which is not a good thing. And of course, whenever you're not being your full self, that causes a lot of depression, sadness, and feeling more alone within yourself, lonely. And for the most part, your true self's going to end up coming out at some point. So when it did with certain people in certain situations, they would be really turned off by that because I had masked this personality, and they're wondering why I'm being a certain way or acting a certain way when that's who I really am. And that's another thing that had turned off people away from me as well. You know, that's what really caused issues in my life, and it still does. It's patterns that will continue to keep happening, because as long as I am not healing that or going in and looking in as well and trying to understand, and still being able to have negative energy put onto that, whether it's still resentment, anger, negative energy, still feeling unloved or fear, doubt, anything like that, you're going to have people and situations attract that to you until you figure that out. So it's not fun at all. But because of everything that's happened in my life, I've been able to be more empathetic towards others and be more understanding of what others have gone through. So it actually makes me feel good when I'm talking to, and this will be mainly women's, if a stranger, whether it was a coworker or just acquaintances I may see every now and then, whenever I speak out to them or they're coming to me for whatever reason, and I give them insight and they tell me that nobody's ever been able to talk to them the way that I have and helped them, or that I help them move forward in something, that's what makes me feel like that's my purpose, basically. That's what makes me feel kind of fulfilled in this part of my life, basically, is to be able to help others and know that I did make a difference. And I mean, I knew pretty early on whenever I was a kid that I was different. And it's weird whenever you know as a kid that you're different and you're not like everybody else. But it's mainly the looks and the responses I would get back, basically, from people. I just knew that they were confused or thought I was odd or weird, and it really bothered me when I was younger. But now I embrace that shit and I actually love it. I love being different. But you know what? At the same time, I also would, because I have my expression shut down a lot of the times with one of these patterns, I would also overshare. I would overshare too much, and it was basically because I just wanted to be seen and loved. it wasn't anything for attention or anything, ill will. It's just, I just want to be seen and loved and feel like I'm accepted. And these are things that have caused me to do certain things in my life. And the last thing that I really had trouble with was, like I said, with the loss of money issue, was money became a fear of mine. When my dad lost his job, we saw losses, loss of resource, loss of money. I saw my parents really suffer in my teenage years. And I want to say I was 18 or 19 when my parents filed for bankruptcy. And that's something you shouldn't see as a teenager or see your parents go through. We almost lost our house multiple times and almost homeless. There was times that we barely had any food, or if any, to eat. There was just a lot of things that it was just a constant worry and fear. And unfortunately, in my personal relationships, when I was dating, is I would project this fear on the person I was dating, and I would expect the person I was dating to be stable and to be able to provide, which, like I said, it's okay to have expectations, but also you got to remember you can't have false expectations either. And also have to understand that they are their own person. And so I don't want people telling me how I should be. So it really was contradicting that I did that. And I never expressed that to my personal relationships. And like I said, it's just now come to me this week of why money has been an issue in my life, and why I want so much of a safe and secure environment for myself, because I didn't feel that whenever I was younger. And that's kind of what I want. And I went about it the wrong way, and expected, whoever I was with to be that way, instead of going in and looking at myself, and also doing these things for myself to make sure that I make myself okay and be there for myself. And like I said, because I had such a fear of money, even with issues dealing with today, I attracted issues with money constantly, with medical bills, just delay in money, denial of money. The list can go on, and it still happens even now, where I would think, oh, if I just find somebody that's going to sweep me off my feet and have all of these expectations of me not having to look into myself and deal with these issues, especially also with money, if they also are, stable and have money, I'll be fine. I don't have to worry about it anymore. The problem is with that is that's not true, and you will continue to have issues attracting to you because you've never dealt with them. And that's the same with me, as I never dealt with them. And the same thing as I've been looking at it is, just because I wanted to have so much of a safe and secure environment, I also was just trying to control. I was just trying to control things also, to think that's what was going to satisfy me. And really, it's also, you could just put this in maybe in the perspective of, what are you wanting in life? Are you wanting a passion? Or are you wanting a stable environment and safe? Are you choosing certain situations because you are too scared to look into it and deal with it yourself, or deal with it in general, or, and if you are and you look for it into somebody else, you're still going to be unhappy, because having expectations, false expectations and illusions never never going to provide any kind of satisfaction in your life at all. It never did with me. And so these are things that I've had to sit here and think about, especially this week. And these are kind of things that have come up. Like I said, it's consciously been, it's been there, but not fully this deep. I look actually a lot into astrology, and because of that, I have found out a lot more about myself and found out a lot of things that I actually do that I maybe have been in denial about, or I've been more kind of I want to say self-centered, maybe selfish, into the point when if somebody basically, did something, I'm just talking about in general, you can think of in general, but let's just say, I'm going to just use an analogy here. So let's say if, in a relationship and, doesn't work out because that person did something, I would sit there and not think about the things that I may have done within that relationship too. I would just go, well, that person did worse stuff than I did, and they're the problem, not me. Instead of also looking into myself and seeing if there was anything that I did that led to the downfall or led to certain situations. So yeah, it's been interesting. And also looking into other loved ones' charts to see kind of a little bit more information on them as well, to figure out a few things of what's kind of going on with them a little bit. And of course, people may think that's weird that I'm into astrology and also a Christian. But you know what? I don't really care, because God knows my heart, and that's all I really care about. I don't really care about what anybody thinks about me and God's relationship. So in all of this, like, what I guess the next step is, you would say, what do you do next? So whenever you find out what's causing and what you're doing, what do you do next, or what is your next step? And I would say is that helps, looking into yourself and what's going on helps to know whenever that pattern comes back up, or when those situations or people come in, you know when to stop it, and you also know when to protect yourself even more. You know when to maybe back away, and you learn to be more in tune with yourself in that situation, and not continue to repeat those patterns and those bad habits. I think a lot of people right now, especially in society right now, is trying to deal with how to let go of bad habits or people that have hurt them, relationships, whatever. And all I can say is, if it helps you to move forward, if there has been a parent or sibling or friend, whoever, that had caused wounds in your life or trauma and things that are still causing you pain now that you haven't looked into yet, or you know that's caused pain, it still haven't fully deepened the reasoning or what's causing you to do certain things to other people, I highly encourage you to please talk to that person, whoever is causing you pain or suffering or grief. The reason I say this is because you don't know how much time you have with this person. And I know it's hard because you may have a lot of anger, resentment, pain, suffering. But this may be the next step for you to heal and start moving forward and making better choices in your life and maybe feeling better. But that's all up to you, whether or not you want to do that or not. And the same thing goes for the people you maybe you inflicted pain on, or know what you did. And I encourage to talk to those people as well. If that helps you to heal and to move forward, I encourage that as well. But that may not help everyone. But I personally believe if you are dealing with pain, grief, loss, any suffering, the best thing to do is talk to loved ones, or just talking about it. And I understand the people that may have lost someone that they can't talk to at this point. I encourage you to then talk to the next closest person that you love or who you trust to talk about a certain situation with. And really this all stems from, for me, because everybody has different patterns and habits that they deal with, is I have to look more into myself and love myself and forgive myself for the things that I've done, and know the past is the past. But as long as I've acknowledged now what's been going on, I can now move to a better future. And I would hope that you can hopefully forgive yourself and forgive the people that have hurt you, because let me remind you that not everything that you have that's wound or victim, or not victim, I'm sorry, trauma is intentional, or came out intentional, or what the person that did it intentionally. There are people that do things intentionally, for sure. That's why I always say that you should definitely talk to those people and get down to it and learn to forgive and love yourself as who you are, because you can't be anybody else. That you are you, and you are perfect just the way that you are, even though we all make mistakes and we are not perfect. We're human. We're all living this human experience. So it does not matter either if we heal, because you can't heal all the way. It does not matter how long you've been working on issues, patterns, habits, addictions. You will always have to tend to certain things in your life. There's going to be things that come up. There's going to be issues that are going to give you flare-ups in those areas in life. And that's when you need to have the best self-love for yourself to get through those situations and get back to tending a wound that was healed again, that was, cut again or brought back up, whatever. So what I do for basically self-love stuff is, everybody does different things, for sure. So the two things that I do, and you can do whatever you want to do, there's different things that work for everybody. This is what works best for me, is I will look at myself in the mirror and I will tell myself things that I love about myself. And I know it may be weird at first, It may feel uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the more comfortable it is. As well as I will take a piece of paper and I will write down things that I love about myself. And those things have helped me a lot. Because once you learn to love yourself and give yourself that self-love, then when you get compliments or you get validation from others, you don't really need it because you love yourself. And it's nice to get compliments for sure, but you don't have to have them because you already know how great you are and what kind of person you are and who you are. And just know that, you know, you are your own worst critic, of course. We all are. But you are also your best supporter in this life. Be the best supporter for yourself. You don't need it from other people. You don't. So yeah. That was basically kind of mostly what I wanted to talk about. It's been different with every single video I already recorded because I've now done this 4 times. I just want to say real quick, I just hope that this video reaches who it needs to, and I know that it will. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. Maybe one day it will, maybe it won't. But you know, I also want to say, don't be afraid to go for things because you have experienced so much loss or rejectment, fear, suffering in this life. The best things in life are the things that you do go for and that you also are not comfortable. Like I said earlier, is what do you want in life? Especially with your own patterns and your own habits. What are you looking for with friendships, relationships, marriage, family? I mean, like, what are you looking for? Are you looking for passion in all things, or are you just looking for safe? So yeah, anyways, I really hope that we can have more of these discussions in general. I hope more people can start coming out and talking about their own baggage and issues and things that they've inflicted on other people because of patterns in their life and wounds and trauma, because that would be very beneficial. It'll help others to look into themselves to get this figured out, hopefully heal other people sooner in life than later. You know, everybody goes at their own pace and finds things out in their own timing, which is very true. But if we can bring more awareness and talk about these things and be open, then we can bring the collective in more to start this with the younger generation to look in a lot younger and hopefully be able to take these conversations into account for friendships and relationships or within marriages and things like that. But this goes even more deeper into not only just women, because women are usually very open about emotional things. That's just kind of how women are. Unless the woman has more masculine energy, then maybe does not want to bring anything up, or that makes them very vulnerable and they just close off. But either way, there's a discussion for men as well. So unfortunately, with the society, older society, they were taught to not, men to not really open up about emotions or be emotional. And the same thing, even with this society today, I'm still seeing it with men. And like I said, I've been with men my whole life. My 3 brothers, my dad. I mean, I've had trouble with women, so I'm still trying to deal with that. But with men, I've seen it. I've seen it personally, that just even in past relationships, it's not, they're not wanting to open up, and they feel it's just more men are emotionally unavailable or emotionally just cut off. And what they don't realize is most women want men to be open with them and to go into depth with them, and that brings in more intimacy, more feeling of being loved and cared. And if this can go into with men as well, to learn to look into themselves too and find their patterns and habits, that would make a huge difference. Can you just imagine? Because right now, with especially relationships, friendships, marriages, there's a lot of miscommunication that starts conflicts, fights, arguments. Same thing goes for if somebody does something, causes fights, argument. But can you imagine if you both open with each other about your patterns and habits, and you both learn what causes each other certain, inflictions and things like that? Then you would know if when someone says something or does something, why they're acting that way or saying something a certain way. And that in itself would be, to me, it would be an amazing thing, as well as it would help relationships in general to learn to be more loving and empathetic and caring for each other, and knowing that we all go through these kind of things. Maybe not the same paths and not the same exact things, but we all go through painful things. We all go through loss. We all go through suffering. So hopefully this video made sense, and hopefully it can resonate to you. I hope I can do more videos like this for healing. Not only is this good to help heal others, but I know that this is also going to be my own healing journey, and this is going to help me understand myself better and heal better for myself. And like I said, I encourage you, even if it's just one thing that that's causing pain, or that there's certain things happening in life, I encourage you to look in deeper, see if you can find the result of why you think that caused it. And like I said, and even if you just do that, and maybe you don't want to talk to anybody, that's fine. And if you do, I highly encourage that. I always encourage healing, always encourage looking more into yourself and trying to make yourself better. I'm all for that, all for it. And like I said, for whatever reason, the dark does not want me to put this video out. Does not want me to put this video out. I've tried this so many times. So I hope you guys have a good week and the rest of your weekend. I hope that next week I can get 2 videos going, but we'll see. I'm still in the, I'm getting better with this process of pushing things a little bit quicker and getting more responsibility to push myself to do all of this. So, yeah. Bye-bye.